is 7:33. This video is about family and home. So I'm gonna do my invites. Do me some invites so people know I'm here. And I want to go over how I was told to unravel this part of the riddle. And it's kind of clever because it all makes so much sense now when it was so foggy before. And I want to start by saying each one of these videos I'm doing now is like polishing touches on collecting the receipts. So today I had to go collect some receipts. So I'm gonna go over the receipts I collected today, and from there we're gonna go into the I-10 and how that relate to me finally getting to go home, based off what the signs read. So I'm gonna show y'all what I see and what happened today, and we're gonna see how I do when we read these signs. So a couple more of these. All right, and we almost ready. Oh, yeah, I had to get there. All right, so I'm done doing all the invites I'm gonna do. So this one I'm gonna open up. Flip my camera here with this book here. This is State of Emergency by Jawanza Kunjufu. You see the author name. And we must save African American males is the title, right? And so, remember, I've been chasing clues to unravel the riddle that got us all hostage. So today, this one is we are dealing with the family and this, the I-10, and this is directly relating to tying all family members back together using the agency of psychology that's triggered by the grievance that I'm about to review with y'all. Now, in here, Jawanza Kunjufu start this book out with an introduction in the first chapter, right? And this is what I wanted to get into. Now, he started off state of emergency. Now, there's a couple things in the symbolism. Look at here. See this? Look at the textures, right? So all of this is telling me who's involved. This is Native American iconography right here. These are chains. 2, 5, 7 with one in the middle. But these are also the arms. Look at the arms. Remember we went over the arms, right? And that's a head. Look. Merge in C. So he's saying whoever this is he's talking to, he's telling them to wake up and see. Emerge and see. Wake up. Rise up and see. Up here, this is Native American. And if it was a little bit clearer, I would be able to read it. But the inking is too dark for me to really read it. And I'm not sure if this is a hammer. Right? But it looked like a hammer. So I go over here and I see the word tape. And the first part of it is ta. Now you thinking master a builder. And then you see the te, which is the T, as in TT. it's still TT straight. If you use Grimm's law of grammar, you can substitute any vowel. The I's fit there in the translation from a Semitic language into English. So it could be TT, which is another way of calling for a auntie. So this would lead me to believe that there is a woman involved that is related to looking out for black males. This would be a guardian and or somebody that's confirming that this grievance is valid, right? Whoever I bump into today in my journey of research has to validate the grievance I'm about to review. They have to give me a direct link to this. They have to show me the symbol of the I-10, right? And when the I-10 is in full range, so I got to meet, remember, 3 knocks, right? Then this one is more complex because now, by it's called breaking a seal. Now I got to identify them in the pantheon of the Egyptian gods. That's 4 things I got to match. Now you see how difficult it was to match just one thing yesterday. Now there's 4 things I all got to line up, right? So now this is past that. Now if it's only 4 things, right, we talking vices, we talking negative pull. But I also received an artifact from her. So this person gave me a map and an artifact on my travels. Now she had to be identified in the pantheon because she's a power wielder and she don't know it yet. So I have to reveal herself to herself with convincing evidence to determine if she's convinced of who she is. Now I'm not going to do that video today. I'm going to touch on some of the things in her file so that y'all know who she is. And if she want me to go ahead and go through the full book, I'll do that. But now let's review the grievance. The grievance said, if one of every 3 white males were involved in the penal system, white America would declare a state of emergency. That sounds valid. If 80% of white children in special education classes were male, white America would declare a state of emergency. That's a valid grievance. If there were 3 white females for every 1 white male on college campuses, white America would declare a state of emergency. Now look what he said. If there were 3 white females for every 1 white male, right? The 3 is a knock to the 1, right? So this is saying that something is being minimized here in order to not make it look as severe as it really is. What's being minimized? This number. That tells me right here that this is more than just a grievance. It's also a clue, right? The reason I know that because the statistic for black male to black male to black female ratio in college campuses is not 3 to 1. It's far, far higher. It's more like 6 to 1 to 9, 10 to 1. It's a much bigger ratio than this. That's an incongruency that gets my attention. Now look, watch how it gets my attention. WWW, right? If you flip it over, M, M, M. Morpheus, Mysticus, Magus. Now look at it upside down. So now I know he's trying to get my attention. He's trying to get my attention. He want me to really deal with this issue that he's bringing these grievances up about. That is a triple knock from a master because of how he labeled the iconography in the front of the book. This is a dire situation in education that he's pointing out. So we got to deal with that on a higher level than just education alone. This has to deal more with socioeconomics and the broken families and etc. Right? So now, when I think of what all this entails, it brings to mind what Tupac said when he said, we can't have no families. You know, they taking our money. You know, we got our kids dying in the street. You know, so it's matching. Right? It's matching. So it's more stuff in there. I'm not going to go over everything. But that was a big deal. So I had to point that out to y'all. Then I'll go over here to the next grievance. If white women had the life expectancy of African American males, 65 years, white America would declare a state of emergency. By the way, white women have a life expectancy of 79 years. Now, you see, he put this in the parentheses for me to validate something. That life expectancy is incongruent. Because if I divide 65 into 79, I'll have a remainder, which would make it an incongruent in a forward, flat-out scenario of this nature. So the incongruency tells me, well, what am I looking at? Right? What is this incongruency? How many years is it? It's a 14-year difference. Look, 14 years, and here's my other 7. So he dropped a 5 from here. The 5-point star. Remember? Remember? Came from the 5, right? I am the 6 that came from the 5. He dropped me on the 9, made it 14 to triple the 7. So he's telling y'all that we need to deal with the issue of health and life expectancy, longevity. I posted about it on my page already. If you want to scroll down a couple of months, you'll see all of these grievances pretty much directly dealt with. Next grievance he has is, if 1 of every 12 white males in Washington, D.C. were a victim of homicide, white America would declare a state of emergency. Now we're looking at the number 12. When I see the number 12, the first thing come to mind is the zodiac. So what's in here that reminds me of the zodiac? The name Washington. Why? Because it's the Washita Nation's name contorted into the modern English. It's Wichita. Now remember I told you before it had a native iconography in the first letter. Right? So this Washita. Now this taking me to Malachi York, Empress Verdiasi, to the Washita Moorish nation. Right? And a direct current, a direct line. You see it? This is how we read it. So now I know what needs to be dealt with. There's some more stuff in there. I'm not going to go over everything, but when something sticks out that blatant, I'm going to point it out. Now remember, every time I point that many things out, that's a hit. Add the power variant to that for having hits for each hit, and you'll see that to have as many hits as I had so far in describing a valid complaint and a valid issue that has been verified by somebody else. Now, when I get done with this, the person that I go to has to say that all of this is valid, and I got to tie him back to this book, right? So let's go. If 13% of white males in Alabama and Florida were permanently disenfranchised, white America would declare a state of emergency. Where's my anomaly? He said Alabama and Florida, right? That's a red flag to me, because the disenfranchisement is all over for black males, for African American males. No, this is the wrong one. Here. You see, say if 31, right, percent of white males in Alabama and Florida were permanently disenfranchised, white America would declare a state of emergency. But why did he only pick Florida and Alabama? Now, remember I told y'all in the beginning that he had the native iconography, right? Alabama is actually Alibaba, and it is territory of the Seminole Nation, as well as Florida. Think now we got to start tying it to music, because this is Flow Rider, right? This is Flow Rider. So now it ties into music. Let's keep going. So whoever it is that comes up to verify this grievance has to tie also to music. So if y'all keeping track, y'all see how difficult it is after a period of time to keep linking this stuff together without missing the beat. All right? White American declared state of emergency. Okay, let's go to the next one. If 14% of white males nationwide, 2 sevens, were temporarily, see, now they're still disenfranchised. But now it's only temporarily, but the national rate is only 14%. 2 sevens. Right? But he said disenfranchised 2 times. So if you say it again, that means that's a triple address. It's a triple address, which means I have to investigate the entire subject of disenfranchisement and how it relates to the struggle. And then I have to provide a valid answer that can be used wherever you find disenfranchisement taking place. Right? So it's 2 times. You see, make sure I ain't missed it nowhere prior. All right, now we on the 7th page. Look, 7th page, 2 sevens. This is directly for me. Now go to the next one. If AIDS was the #1 killer of white males, white America would declare a state of emergency. They would do that. But now, we already mentioned Flow Rider, and now we're talking about AIDS. I'm thinking Eazy-E and Freddie Mercury. Right? They supposed to have been musicians that died of AIDS. Real top-of-the-line singers. Right? Or musicians. So now that's 3 hits on music off 2 words. Now, if I get another reference that can tie me back to music, now the music is locked in. I cannot escape the next connection or the next person that verifies the grievance if the music industry does not come into play in our interaction, right? So then right here, oh, by the way, Eazy-E, right, started Ruthless Records in '88. If you follow Eazy-E, this is the Eazy-E number 8. Right? Eazy-E got the number 8. It's a matter of fact, it's a video on YouTube that talks about how he used the number 8 to represent the queen when he was making his moves. He'll tell y'all about it. I'll let him explain it to y'all when he get to tell y'all what the 8 is. But I wanted y'all to know that's the Eazy-E number on the page that talks about AIDS. Right? So now, if whites were 13% of the population, 12 tribes of Israel plus Israel makes 13. But comprise 35% of drug arrests, 55% of drug convictions, and 74% of drug prisoners. GD 7-4. White America would declare a state of emergency. Look at the 555s, right? That's the 3 sisters, the 3 M's that we went over right here. Right? the 3 representing the 3 5s, which pointed me all the way back to the 3 Ps, right? The P that my Angel Bay took, and he passed it off to Larry, 7-4, the stone the builder rejected. You see that? Putting the clans back together. That's what he's